Hey guys, it's Nels. We're back out on the snow today with another episode of Sled Tech. Today's episode is going to be all about RMK tracks and drivetrain. We're going to talk all about 275, 325 track, our Series 6 track, and then our QuickDrive and drivetrain system as well. Let's check it out. Now, tracks are a massive deal on mountain sleds. They have an incredible amount of influence over the vehicle, how it works, and it makes sense, right? It's other than the skis, it's the only thing that's actually in the snow. It's what's interacting with the snow every time you drive. And snow is such a difficult surface, especially out in the mountains. It can be totally different weights, consistencies, depths, different terrain, and we need tracks that some of them work in a lot of places, some are more specific, but making sure that we've got the best tracks for the different terrain and style of riding, because they are so important to the ride. Now when it comes to tracks on trail snowmobiles and crossover snowmobiles, those tracks are more shared across different manufacturers, Cobra tracks, Ripsaws, things like that. When it comes to mountain sleds, these tracks are specific to Polaris. We have 100% designed and engineered these tracks to what we want to do in our specifications and designs, and they're exclusive to our Polaris snowmobiles. Now, we've been making our own snowmobile tracks for mountain sleds for 20 plus years at Polaris, and the way the story goes, when we very first started making our own tracks, the mountain development team at the time in the late 90s had a 1.5 inch lug and a 2 inch lug out on the hill. And the 1.5 inch worked way better in the snow than the 2 inch. And they iterated through it a lot, did a lot of development. And what came out of it is this idea of lift. Lifting the vehicle out of the snow. What we learned with that 1.5 inch lug versus the 2 inch was even though it was shorter, it generated lift. It actually lifted the suspension up out of the snow and moved it forward, rather than just through the snow it was sitting on behind the vehicle and dug down. That pursuit of instant lift, in addition to control and response, the other two pieces of RMK we talk about, has really guided a lot of our track development over 25 years. And with Polaris RMKs, instant lift is the secret sauce. That's what makes an RMK work so well in the deep snow, is the whole vehicle generates lift the second you hit the throttle and make an input. When we say lift, we mean the vehicle actually picks itself up out of the snow, generates lift in the snow just like a plane would generate lift to take off, and gets going forward, and the track is spinning. Now, because the track isn't all trenched down, it's lifted up and moving forward, you can handle the vehicle very quickly. If you've ridden a mountain sled, you know that you steer with the track, you steer with the throttle. You got to be moving that track in order to initiate side to side and make moves. If that track is lifted up and moving forward, spinning, you're in great shape. You can make all sorts of moves. If the track is trenching down, looking for traction, and can't get out of the hole that it's dug for itself, you're not going to be going anywhere fast. Up first today, which we've got here in this tan Khaos, is the Series 8 275. Now, the Series 8 275 was launched in model year 21. With the last year, the Axis platform came along with QuickDrive 2, which we'll talk about a little bit more later, and served as the new core of our mountain track lineup. The 275 is the do-it-all, most versatile mountain sled track that we have. It was quite a development exercise because the target to perform well was really everywhere. And we spent a lot of time developing this track all over the world in all sorts of different conditions to make sure that in the deep snow it generates lift and traction and gets moving. In marginal snow conditions or more set-up snow conditions, it's still fun to ride. It's not pushy. It's plenty forgiving. It can go a long time on the trail if you got to ride some trail to get where you're going, and it's super durable for all kinds of different riding. Getting into some of the technical details on the track, so it's a 2.75 inch lug, so the lug height right here, it's like that all the way across, hence the name 275. And it was our first foray into 3.5 inch pitch. So pitch is the difference between the rods, the spacing of the rods is the definition of pitch. We had been at 2.86 or 3 inches in the past. We moved to 3.5 inch pitch here with 275. And the purpose is really twofold. One is lightweight. It's less lugs. It's more space between them, so you have less lugs on the same length track. Our Series 8 275 155 track is 44 pounds, which is lighter than any other snowmobile track out there. And the track is the largest piece of rotating mass on the vehicle. If you can take a pound out of the track, that's worth way more weight other places on the snowmobile, making it handle quickly, handle easily, and get going and lift itself up out of the snow. The second piece with 3.5-inch pitch that we were looking for is better traction in deep snow by spacing the lugs out a little bit. What this does is it enables more snow in between the lugs, and so it enables it to get more traction when the snow is really deep because it's pushing more snow with the same amount of effort. A couple really cool details on the lug and carcass design as we get down here. This continues our sort of alternating 2x2 track lug design that we've had for a number of years now on our different series tracks. One really cool item that you can see here on 275 is it was our really first entry into these really purpose-built webs that you can see here. Now, the lug on a mountain track has a really difficult job. It's got to do a lot of things all at the same time. It has to be soft enough and flexible enough that it can really grab onto that snow and lift itself up out. That's part of what helps generate that lift, is it has enough give to grab the snow and move on top of it rather than just scooping it like a metal shovel and throwing it behind. But it needs to be strong too. It's got to be strong enough to stand up and make sure it maintains its shape when you're on really high track speed pulls, especially with our boost sleds. And also it has to be durable enough for when you hit stuff. We're out here riding in the backcountry, you hit logs, you hit rocks, you bump into stuff, and it's got to be durable too. Our engineering team developed this exclusive rib design here that you see on these two paddles. And it's really designed to attack both of those things. So the top of the lug tip here, and then into the core part of the lug tip, is nice and thin. It's lightweight. It helps keep the weight down and helps the vehicle handle better, right? This is the biggest piece of rotating mass on the vehicle, and it helps it spin quickly and spin up. But these ribs that you see, 5 ribs here on the inner 2 lugs, and then the outer 2 and the 2 middle ones on the outside lugs, are what give it its strength. They help it maintain its strength and composure under higher track speeds and loads, and make sure it adds the durability where it needs to. Like I said, the 275 is our all-terrain track. If you're going to go mountain snowmobiling and when somebody asks you what kind of riding to do, you say all of it. I ride all sorts of different places, all kinds of terrain, any snow conditions. 275 is the obvious choice. It's in 155 and 165. It's available on 850s, 9R, Boost, 650, Pro, Khaos, any 155, 165 combination. 275 is going to be the standard track, and it is that most versatile track. For any kind of riding conditions, it's going to perform really well. It's going to be durable and strong and provide lots of fun out on the snow. All right, now the second track we've got here today out on the hill is the all-new 325. This is the big dog. We launched this one this year for 2024, so it's new, available on our 9R and Boost sleds only for this year. And this one was a really fun track for the team to build and work on. It is the most purpose-built mountain track we've ever done. Like I talked about with 275, this is the all-terrain, ride it anywhere, any kind of snow track. We had to get that one done. And because this one does so well in so many different terrains, we were allowed to really build a super specialized, ultra deep snow track. So 325, so 3.25-inch tall lugs, just like the 325 name says, which means they're a 1/2 inch taller than the Series 8 275. So that's the first piece that helps with that ultimate lift and big time traction in the deep snow. Second piece is this top of the lug is nice and flexible, and just like 275, but a little even more so on 325, that's what helps that instant lift. It is able to flex and articulate to the snow, grabs it, and pulls itself right up onto the snow instantly. But, like we said, this track is a big-time traction track on big sleds like Boost and 9R, so the base of the lug is still plenty strong to be able to support those bigger loads and bigger track speeds. Now, like I mentioned a little bit earlier, this is the most purpose-built mountain track we've ever built at Polaris, and we think it's the most purpose-built in the snowmobiling industry. It has one goal. That's to work super well on really deep days when you're gonna go ride aggressively. Because of that, there are some considerations and trade-offs that come with the track. Just like a red letter tire in rock crawling or a sand tire in a dune buggy, it's not meant to go down the trail. That's not what it's designed for. There's a 50-mile-an-hour speed limit with 325 that we say you got to keep it under 50 miles an hour on the trail. There's a warning on the display. It doesn't actually do anything. It doesn't limit the performance or pull down power or anything like that. It's just a an alert so that you know that you're riding faster than the speed limit for this track. And in order to help make sure that the track is as durable as it can be, we want to make you aware so you can slow down. The second piece that comes with this track is, and all of our tracks for model year 24, is the new reversible scratchers. We've talked about those some in other videos, but they make sure that the track stays at the temperature that it should be, cooling the track as well as the engine. If you take care of those two things on 325, you'll see just the same level of durability that one would be able to expect with a 275. If you do those things. If you don't want to put up with those things, if you're like, man, I live in Michigan and we ride a bunch of trail and then go ride off trail, or I ride a lot of trail here, we get a ton of different snow conditions and it's really set up sometimes, 275 it is. That's the ultimate choice for any kind of terrain. But if you want to have the highest performance, most purpose-built, ultra-deep snow track, and you're willing to take care of it like a specialized piece of equipment requires, there's nothing that beats 325. Moving from the track to the front of the snowmobile here, we're going to take a moment and look at QuickDrive. So QuickDrive is a belt drive system that otherwise replaces what would be a lubricated chain case there traditionally on other snowmobiles. QuickDrive is something that we've been doing on RMKs for over 10 years. We've got a lot of history with it, and it comes standard on every single RMK we sell. Everyone has a belt drive in the form of QuickDrive. And the benefits are super easy, super straightforward. It's lighter. Less rotating mass, and when you're talking about mountain sleds in any performance vehicle, lighter and less rotating mass is always better. The design of QuickDrive itself is designed to be simple. It's much simpler than a lot of aftermarket belt drives that have come onto the scene since we launched QuickDrive. It's a tensionless system, 2 pulleys, and a really robust Kevlar-based belt that connects the two. It's really, really durable, really strong. And if you do have to change a belt or get the QuickDrive off for any reason, it's super easy to do. It's 2 bolts and the whole thing comes out. So in 2021, we launched what we call QuickDrive 2 or QD2 on our RMKs that year. And it came along with the 3.5-inch pitch tracks. The key pieces for the update were a couple strong durability upgrades, the Kevlar-based belt that's more durable than the one before it, and then QD2 is a gear ratio that's 10% lower than our original QuickDrive. So that means the power is delivered a little bit quicker. It gets to the snow quicker with more track speed relative to the engine speed because of that lower gear ratio to help compensate and really pair well with the bigger lug tracks that we were coming out with. We do still have the original QuickDrive 1 or QuickDrive ratio in the lineup in a couple key spots. So the QD1 and QD2 systems for 24 are now the same. They share a lot of the same belt technology. They share all those pieces, all the learnings we've had. The difference between the two is the ratio. So like I said, QD2 is 10% lower than QuickDrive 1, and their QuickDrive 1's on a couple key models. The first is the 146 RMK Khaos. So there's a couple reasons that vehicle comes with the original QuickDrive ratio. The key one being that it's more trail focused. It's still an RMK, it's awesome in the backcountry, but a lot of those snowmobiles get ridden on the trail or single track more or at lower elevations. They go to Michigan, Quebec, New York, places where people want to ride off trail and on trail. And that QuickDrive ratio really pairs well with what they're doing with the vehicle, as well as the shorter tracks. The 146 Khaos comes with the 2-inch crossover or the 2.6-inch Series 6, so shorter lugs than we'd get on the 155 and 165. The other sled that comes with the original QuickDrive ratio is actually our Boost RMKs when you order them through SnowCheck with low elevation clutching. So low elevation clutching on the clutch side in RMKs is springs, a helix, and then weights. And with the Boost sled, we actually do put the taller QuickDrive ratio in there as well. If you're ordering the low elevation snowmobile or low elevation package for Boost, the road loads that vehicle sees spending its life at low elevation pairs better with the original QuickDrive ratio. When you take it out west, right, for your trip or two a year, if you got the low elevation package, you put the high elevation clutching in, take it out west, it's still going to perform awesome. If you really want the lower ratio as well, when you come out on your trip out to the mountains and the high elevation, like I said, it's 2 bolts and a simple gear change with the belt, and you're back in business to run the lower ratio. When you get back home, you want to take it out into the woods or in the backcountry at lower elevation, put the QuickDrive 1 ratio back on, and you ride away. Now, we don't have one out here on the hill with us today, but the RMK Khaos 146 has 2 specific track options, and they're really designed more for what the sled is for, right? 146 Khaos, super fun backcountry sled if you want to get a little rowdy and have a challenge. but it's really targeted a lot at people who want to ride in the backcountry, need to ride some trails, need some versatility, or ride in areas where it's not mountain snow but still off trail. So we have 2 tracks available. The first is our 2-inch crossover track. So that's the same track that is an option on the Switchback Assault as well. It's a 2-inch lug, same 2x2 pattern that you've come to know from Polaris, really focused on durability. If you got to burn a lot of trail miles on your 146, but you still want enough capability off trail, that 2-inch track is a great option. And then the second one is our 2.6 Series 6. So this is a track that's been on RMKs for quite a while now. It's a very seasoned, very durable track. We had it on the 155s, 163s for quite a while, and now it's still available on the 146. 286 pitch as well, just like the 2-inch. 2.6-inch lug, same 2x2, and more leaning towards off-trail. It's still a little more trail-friendly than the 275, 325, but if you ride your 146 out here in the backcountry or off-trail a lot, it's a really awesome option that's got serious deep snow chops. When it comes to how your mountain sled works out in the backcountry, there's not a whole lot more important than the track. 275, 325, our whole suite of Polaris design, Polaris engineered tracks built to do nothing but dominate the backcountry, however you choose to attack it. That's all we got for today's episode of Sled Tech. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.